Previously on Trekking Along. Good afternoon. We are back on trail. Actually, the trail came through that little field back there. We came through there. We're about 4 miles into the Shenandoah National Forest. 3 miles. I don't know. I didn't really look at the map. But we're in the Shenandoahs. We're excited. Stopped for lunch. Packed out chips because that's our thing to do now whenever we hit town. This time it's Doritos. So I don't think they're going to last very long. But they were good. And today it's sunny. Clouds are still out, but it's not raining. It rained really good the last 2 nights we were in town in a hotel. So yay for a dry bed and a warm shower. So ready to knock out some miles in the next couple of days. We have found the tractor seats and the communication building. So it's a gorgeous day. And these seats are just a little odd sitting right here, but that's okay. A little low. And a little low, so have fun getting up out of those, girls. You told us to sit. Yeah, I did tell you to sit. Oh, is it? Good job. So off in the distance is the communication towers that we were at earlier. We went down that mountain, and then we came up this one. We're at Little Calf Mountain. It is just beautiful today.
Good morning, everyone. Today is day 111, so day 111 is just fun to say. We stayed at the shelter last night. It was kind of pretty full house. It's a holiday weekend. Yeah, it's a holiday weekend, so it's going to be a lot of people on trail
national parks
for the next few days. But today we are doing about 13 miles to the next hut, not shelter. They call them huts here, but lots of water. Yeah, no water until we get to the shelter. So we had to fill up at a stream that was like a mile from from the shelter we stayed at last night. And then we had to carry water the rest of the day. And there's a lot up today, so it should be fun. And it's pretty hot, but excited for today. We kind of want to eat lunch here, but this deer kind of won't leave. You're cute, but yeah, we kind of want to come eat. That must be a really tasty spot. Go find your other friend. Can you go find your best friend that was here with you a minute ago and go eat with them? Because they went way over there. But the steer doesn't really want to move. You just gotta come eat over here since the deer doesn't really want to move.
You know, just the usual. Eating lunch with the deer.
Let's go that way, please.
Normal AT activities.
Wait, don't mind me. You just were where I needed to go, so. Are you sure
She's making a sneak approach.
She's a sneak attack. Look at her.
Mama, look.
What?
Okay, so bears aren't the ones we have
Aren't a concern, it's deer.
deer.
She's so pretty.
She is so pretty. Take us there.
She's very curious. They do like peanut butter.
They do like peanut butter, and I've got my tortilla. I'm sorry.
Oh, now we're teasing her. She's licking her lips.
Yeah, give me the strawberry jam and let me eat it.
All right.
Okay, I'll eat my peanut butter.
Good morning. Spent the night last night at Black Rock Hut, and this morning we made the quick 7/10 of a mile climb to the top of Black Rock Mountain, and the views are beautiful. It's gonna be another warm day, but we're excited for a campground store and a trash can, ice cream, several exciting things happening today, so it'll be a good day. Dying from the exhaust. Crossing Skyline Drive. Definitely not fans of all the vehicle exhaust. We're at Doyle's River Overlook. But I have no idea where the river actually is. But it's pretty today. This was a special treat today. This is the camp store. I guess one of them for the Loft Campground, I guess, camp store. We went inside and did our first inside and bought sodas and Gatorade and caramel apples and carrots and ranch, and now we're having lunch, and then we plan to go back inside for ice cream for dessert. So it's a warm day, it's Memorial Day. It feels fun to have something different to celebrate.
Look both ways before you cross the street.
Back on trail after a very refreshing lunch. Our ice cream was delicious, very cold. Bathrooms were amazing. They flushed. You actually had to flush them yourself. They actually did not flush automatically. Got to wash our hands with soap and water. Tummies are full from lunch, and now we only have about 6 miles left till camp. Should be a semi-decent, easy afternoon. Rebecca was flipping through one of the books in the camp store, and one of them was titled Easy Hikes of the Shenandoahs, and apparently this section that we're doing right after lunch was listed in there as an easy hike. So, that was encouraging.
So we took a break at Ivy Spring Creek, or Ivy Creek, something like that, to get some water. But this shelter has been boarded up. You can't use it anymore.
It's because the maintenance crew uses it.
The maintenance crew uses it is why. Oh yeah, now I see maintenance building. I can read. But there is also a privy way down there that Mom and Sarah said is full of water. So it may have been put up above a spring.
When I say above the spring, that might be the lowest spring. It's above the spring.
I don't know.
Anyways, let's hike.
Another gorgeous view in the Shenandoahs.
We made it to camp and got our tent set up. We're at, Pinefield Hut. And then the shelter is down at the bottom of the hill. So we're like kind of up at one of the tent sites. It's more private, so it's like a cell site with the benefits of a shelter. So you have a privy, but it's kind of, from what Emily told us, it's not the best privy, but it's a nice area. It's really pretty. All the flowers are out. And now that it's super hot, we leave our flies open at night. So it's cool to like watch the sunset and the sea get brighter in the morning.
Hiking along early this morning because it's going to be hot again, and came across something pretty special. Let me see if I can turn this around. There we go.
We made it 900 miles!
Woohoo! Great job, girls!
Hello everybody, so we are at a motel. We got a private cabin. It's actually super cute. We kind of trashed the place right now, so I'm not going to show you it. But when we were in Waynesboro, we decided to ship ourselves a resupply box here, except the post office closed on Saturday, the day we were going to leave. And we're going to swing by the post office to drop it off and then start hiking, except for it was closed. So we went to the FedEx office and they said they could ship it, but it wasn't going to be picked up until Tuesday, which is the day we were arriving here because of the holiday. So got picked up yesterday after we arrived here, but it was a one-day delivery, so they said it would arrive sometime on Wednesday. Since we didn't know what time on Wednesday, we decided to take a 0 in case it was later that evening, and they arrived at like 3 o'clock-ish today. So we're kind of glad I took a 0 and didn't hike instead. But it was an unexpected 0, but we actually have been really enjoying it. It's a really cute place. Oh yeah, and it's been raining off and on today. It's kind of weird. Like, this one little cloud is hovering over the city we're in. So, but it's supposed to start raining a lot tomorrow. I think tomorrow is the only day it's supposed to rain this rest of this week, and then next week has some storms. But but yeah, a little update.
Good afternoon. We forgot to film this morning, but we had a great shuttle ride back to the trailhead by Wayne. He's a excuse me, super nice guy, very knowledgeable, and I'm gonna choke. That's all right. We've done about 7 or 8 miles, I think. Stopped just a few minutes ago at the Lewis Campground camp store. Got all the cold things again, the soda or Gatorade. A couple got carrots and ranch, or apples and caramel. I got pickles and ice cream. So we're feeling refreshed. We don't have much further to go to our campsite, but we are supposed to have thunderstorms this afternoon, or like in another hour and a half, and then again this evening. So the great debate is on as to whether we want to tent or we want to stay in the shelter. Let's be honest, nobody really wants to stay in the shelter, but we'll see. It's going to be an early day for us, only going to be about 9 miles, but that's all right. We'll just hang out, play card games, and chill in the shelter while this first round of storms passes, and then decide if we're going to put up our tents or not. It's not been too bad today, but this rain is supposed to bring cooling temperatures, so highs in the next couple days are just going to be in the mid-70s, so that'll feel fantastic. We're walking up to Big Meadows, where we're gonna have our very first wayside. Has a grill. I think we're getting burgers, fries, and ice cream. It's because it comes out of a special dispenser, you have to pull it out. Alright, just finished up at the wayside. It was cold. delicious. It's chilly today only because it's overcast. Its high is on like 74 and they had milkshakes and now they're cold. But we're packing out hot dogs and buns.
Let me show you.
And the plan is to do hot dogs
Loud.
and buns.
We got the buns here and the hot dogs in our Crocs. Just a walking concession stand.
Hot dogs! I got hot dogs! And that's all I've got. So be happy with the hot dogs. All right, we got 4.4 miles to camp.
Whistling at the deer.
She heard me. And now she's scared. Maybe. I love it when they lick their lips. Hi. Okay. Do you get it?
I want her to walk. Emily.
I know. Stop whistling.
She's fascinated. Oh,
She's not.
so
Her
fascinated.
ears are bleeding.
Came across a big down. Emily and I have decided we are going to walk around it. But Rebecca and Sarah have decided they're going to go the hardest way.
Oh, you're flying. I spotted me.
Not bad.
Good job. Woo, you just took off the branch. That works. Good job. Found a gorgeous view. And that might be the part they were calling Flat Virginia. Very pretty.
Found a turtle.
Mom almost stepped on it.
Yeah, she almost killed him.
I didn't kill it. It was next to my shoe.
Now he's not going to walk for us. Being camera shy.
That's the slowest moving.
Oh, maybe they won't notice.
There we go.
It's like,
Okay, bye-bye.
Found us another view, same view, just from a different side of it. Because over here are the mountains we were on the last time we saw it. So we've come up and over that one and kind of down a little valley and still going down a little bit. But it's pretty. A little hazy today, but still pretty.
Fear.
Turtle, this is.
He is like not a.
Here, since y'all are eating, I'll have the table. I can sit over here.
I'm gonna send the video to Peyton. He's just like posing for the camera. He's like, I know what to do. Look cute and they won't take him away.
Good morning. We're out hiking again today and just had a unique experience. Came across a group of, I don't even know how many day hikers,
Like
20, 30 of them, I don't know. And we stepped off to the side and they were like, no, no. And they stepped off the side, y'all come through. And so as we start going through, they all started applauding for us and cheering for us. I was like, okay. And then at one point, one of the guys goes, I watch your YouTube, keep up the great work. So it was like, yay! It was just really cute. Never been applauded on the AT before. So, excuse me, I'm curious to see, there's a lot of hikers back at the shelter we were at last night. I'm curious to see if they get applauded and cheered as they go through that group of hikers. But that was super fun. All right, we're hiking to Skyland today. It's a resort. I don't know that we're going to go in. We're kind of stinky, but they might have food that we can just grab and go. So,
And trash cans.
trash cans, the ever important trash can. So, off we go.
Came to the resort and they had pastries. We all got a snack, and Sarah has her snack too, and chips. But super tasty.
There's a bunny right on trail. We don't want to scare you, baby. There you go. We have reached the pinnacle with gorgeous views. Those mountains are beautiful. Second rabbit on trail today, within like 3 miles of each other. And they literally freeze once they see you. I'm not trying to scare you, honey. Into the woods, baby. Go into the woods. I know it's shaking, sweet thing. Okay.
Leaving the Shenandoahs. This is the other check-in box.
I don't think we have to put these permits.
Please not discard your permit.
Okay.
Yep, I guess we just throw it away.
I just throw it away, I guess. All right.
Well, there we
Officially
go.
out of the
Shennies.
Shenandoahs. What did y'all think?
I like the waysides.
Wayside, Sarah.
Waysides.
Waysides.
I think we've decided that if it weren't for the waysides, we would not be big Shenandoah fans.
It went by roads way too much, and we would always hear cars, and I feel like we were always here on a weekend. We were here Memorial weekend, and then we were here this past weekend, and there's so many.
There's just a lot of day hikers.
This is more catered towards
day hikers.
cars and day hikers.
Definitely more catered towards cars. We saw that a lot of the same view, just from different vantage
Angles.
points of the same view.
For like 3 days, it
So.
was the same view.
Yeah, it was a nice park. Just not our favorite section of the AT.
We're gonna come back and drive the Skyline Drive.
We would love to come back and drive the Skyline and, you know, go into a wayside and grab a cold drink and a snack and get back into our air-conditioned vehicle and continue driving. I think that would be a lot of fun, actually. But I don't think we want to backpack it again.
It looks flatter.
I don't know. Fall might be a beautiful time.
Well, everyone will be out.
That's true.
And how many bears did we see?
0.
0.
70% of the population of bears died out last year,
That's
so
what we heard anyway.
Yeah.
So.
only 30% were in the park.
Well, as of, you know.
We did not see bears, but in usual fashion,
Oh.
people behind us saw
But
bears.
we at the shelter we were at a couple nights ago, someone came in like literally 30 minutes after us and said he saw a bear.
We always miss them.
So yeah,
That's all
a lot
right.
of people saw bears here, but not us.
Alrighty.
To town.
Town we
Town.
go. Hot showers and a meal.
Cold shower sounds good right now.
Alrighty.
We just got to the hotel room and the lady at the front desk was like, well, I'm gonna upgrade y'all since y'all have a lot of people, and she's a suite. It is so big and so nice. We have our own, well, 2 separate bedrooms. And then the bathroom is so nice. We're getting so spoiled and we have to go back to Trail tomorrow. I want a 0 here. It's so nice. This little bunny has not left. It's been here for like an hour. So cute. It just moves every once in a while and starts eating again. So cute.
So we only hiked about 5 miles yesterday to the Jim and Molly Denton shelter from Front Royal. It was raining, so we were thankful for a shelter to stay in, and despite the mousy experience in the last one, Emily and Sarah still agreed to stay in the shelter last night. We didn't have any mice issues. It was fine. But this one has a lot of nice features that hikers like. There's the chairs on the deck, the ring toss game that Emily is playing in the background. There's a covered pavilion to cook your dinner in. There's a horseshoe pit over there. And then there's actually, follow that trail down there between the woods, there's actually a solar shower for hikers that didn't make it into Front Royal and still want to get a shower. So some hikers say this is the nicest shelter on the AT. We still think the ones built in the same design as Sarver Hollow and Bryant are the best shelters. And I think we're headed to one of those tonight. Again, we're going to have storms this afternoon all the way for about 12 hours, basically. So we're headed to another shelter tonight. And from what I've seen on Far Out, it looks like it might be built in the same fashion as Sarver Hollow and Bryant. So we're excited to get there and see what it looks like. Hi there, Freak Out and Thumper. Can y'all share with us chapter 2 of the mouse escapades?
So we were at Bearfinch Shelter, and it was like in the Shenandoahs, and it was gonna like rain that night all night, so we decided to just sleep in the shelter
because our tents leak a little bit when it rains hard. So we're like, yeah, we'll just do shelter.
And so she volunteers to be on the wall because none of us wanted to be on the wall. So she takes the wall, and I'm next to her, and then there's Emily and Mom, Rebecca and Mom, whatever. And I wake up to like something like touching my arm, and so I kind of move it, and then a minute later it does it again, and I'm like half asleep, so I'm not actually paying attention to what this is. And then I finally like woke up enough to realize that there was a mouse licking my arm, and so I like immediately moved my arm, and it was really hot that night, and I pulled my sleeping bag all the way over me, and like I was sweating, but I was like, I'm not letting a mouse lick my arm again.
So same thing, similar to me. I was in my sleeping bag, well, not really. I had it all the way down by my feet because it was just so hot that night in the shelter. And I was like all stretched out, my arm in my head. And it's like, I don't know what time it was. It was like 10 or 11. We weren't really sleeping very well because some dude had a really noisy sleeping pad that literally hurt our ears every time we moved. The loudest I've ever heard. So we weren't really sleeping great. And I had my arm in my head, like all like stretched out, and all of a sudden I hear the mice come out, and I'm like, oh, they're out. But they typically just run on the rafters. Like we never were bothered by them. But I heard it like above my head, like where my arm was. So I quickly pulled my arm down, and right when I did that, it crawled onto my head, and I spazzed out to get it off, and I was like, so once it was off, I like grabbed my sleeping bag and I pulled it all the way up on me, and I get it to Sarah, I'm like, Sarah, are you awake?
And I'm like, yes.
I'm like, a mouse just crawled on my head, and she goes, well, a mouse just licked me, and I'm like, can I sleep as close to you as possible to get away from the wall, because I can hear them walking on my stuff.
We are both sweating because it feels like it's 80 degrees outside.
Okay, let's correct that real quick. The lows right now are in the mid 50s, but when you know it's mid 50s, but when you have a 20-degree sleeping bag, you sweat to death in it. So
we're both right next to each other, like
with our bags over our heads.
And then mine was like literally, she was kind of cute because she had all her sleeping bag over her head, and she was in a little ball. But she decided that she wanted to share my pillow and my sleeping pad with me, so I slept great that night. And then at one point, I could feel a mouse start to crawl at me, up like my sleeping bag, and then it stopped, and then went a little further, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a mouse on me. And so I like moved and it went off, but it just, mice were crawling over us
and I would get hot periodically, so I had to take my sleeping bag off me to like kind of get some air in, because I was like my legs were like dripping sweat because I was so hot. And every time I would take my bag off, I would hear a mouse would crawl on me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, stop it. And at one point she and I were together, and our pads were like next to each other by a little gap, and I could, at one point, I thought something fell from the ceiling onto me, but I think it just crawled over my arm at one point between Sarah and I, because the next morning there was mice poop like literally just all along between our pads, and I was like on the floor kind of half the night too, so it just was going between us all night, so crawling on us. And it was
so how do y'all feel about staying in shelters in the future?
I don't like it at all. We stayed at a shelter last night because it rained, and I could hear the mice on the rafters, and they stayed up there.
I did not sleep well. I was like,
I slept because I knew that they were only staying on the rafters because they never came down. But
when we were like in our sleeping bags and I was sweating, I was like, I'm sweating, and I'm like, I don't like that because the mice will lick your sweat, and I'm like, no mouse, get in my sleeping bag.
So don't like shelters with mice.
It was fine in the winter because you were in your bag and you didn't know what was going on.
Oh, do you, Mom, want to share a story about the chewing the packs that we thought?
Okay. Go ahead.
Shelter.
Same shelter, same night. So Sarah and I had mice calling on us, and like at one point we hear a mouse chewing something, and it is chewing so loud, like literally. I'm like laying there, and I'm like, it's like feels like it's right next to my ears, like that loud.
I thought it was chewing the logbook or Mom's AT guidebook, and it was obnoxious.
Yeah, and at one point I hear Mom like sit up, and I'm like, with her light, she just turned her flashlight on red, and it's like shining on the packs, and she's like, I think it's chewing the packs, and it sounds like it's coming from above mine and Rebecca's pack. So we were looking up there, and I'm like, I don't see a mouse. I mean, I thought it at one point, the shadow of the light made it look like there's a mouse, and I almost freaked out, but it was just a shadow. But I'm like, I don't see it or hear it anymore. So we turned the light off, and then 2 minutes later, you could hear it again. So Mom turned her light back on, climbs onto the platform.
Let's just clarify real quick. This is a full shelter.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Like,
There are a lot of people in this shelter, and I'm like, sorry, but I have to find where this mouse is, because if it's chewing our packs, I will guard them all night. These packs are not cheap.
She like gets up on top of the platform, and she peeks on top of the rafter, and it's just up there. The mouse is up there, just chewing away at the wood. Like, I'm like, really, of all the things, you're chewing the wood.
And it did it incessantly.
Mom.
It was really loud.
Yeah. So that was not our greatest shelter experience or night sleep. I think we all got a whopping 3 hours or less.
If that.
Yeah. We all woke up pretty moody, unhappy, not really wanting to hike.
Was that the day that I hiked like 13 miles?
No, we did 11 miles that day, but we actually hiked pretty well considering how sleep deprived we were.
We got to.
And we got to our tent site, and we slept in our tent, and we slept really well. Oh, we were gonna go to bed early, but we ended up not going to bed early. But
Why?
because we had campfire night with some people, so we had hot dogs for dinner. Alright, but yeah, that was our experience. Fun.
We love mice.
No,
Cute. Just not when they're on me.
at least they were small.
They were small.
Oh yeah, someone saw a rat at that shelter, and I was like, if there was a rat on me.
Just threw it in my mouth.
Nice.
Protein, it's fine.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Oh, look, a bench. Y'all want to sit? Y'all want to sit on the bench? Yeah. We're going to take a break.
So I was just reading comments, and it said that a rat snake has made its home in the shelter, and so I started looking around, and there's the rat snake. It is just, and then poor Rebecca is right below it. Can you see his head?
No, you can't see its head.
Right in there.
Wow. Okay. True. Good for that at night.
Probably. That is.
You guys literally were up to this little. Oh, there's his head.
Oh,
okay.
you see its head? I want to see its head.
Camera.
Where is its head?
Wow.
I can't see its head.
Okay, I'm glad we were to the next.
Good morning. We made a white. Oh, look! There's a turtle. Right here on the trail, scooching off. I'll walk by so you guys can see it. Okay, we made a wise decision to stay at the shelter last night. Didn't rain in the afternoon or late afternoon like they said it was going to, but it did storm last night. So very thankful to have that shelter. It was massive, and it ended up being only females in that shelter last night. There were a total of 6 of us in the shelter, and then 2 that chose to tent, but all females. And because it was so large, the 6 of us in the shelter put up our tents, which is kind of a no-no in a shelter, but the bugs are just starting to get so bad at night that you get eaten up in a shelter. And of course, it's so hot, you don't really want your sleeping bag on you. So, good night. The trail is just a little overgrown this morning. So, you're kind of like free fodder for the insects. But, Ooh, it is muddy and slippery after all the rain we had. Yeah. Whoa. I'm trying not to slip here through this mud. Okay. But trail is a little overgrown this morning. We're weaving in and out of plants and ducking under, I think it's honeysuckle vines and stuff that have grown across the trail. This part right in here is not too bad, but it looks like it's going to be an interesting day. And the trail itself is just covered with all the tulip poplar petals. So it's kind of cool. This is one down tree. It's got kudzu all over it too, making it fun to climb over.
That log is slick.
Y'all be careful. I sat on it, but the girls are in shorts, so they don't necessarily want to sit on it. Good job. Hiking through Sky Meadows State Park. It's a beautiful day for it.
So we just filtered some water. So we done the first up and down of the first little hill on the roller coaster, which is a 14-mile stretch, just a bunch of up and downs, and each up is equal to the down that comes after it. We have like 2 more ups for the day, and they'll be at camp, and we're about to hit something pretty big in a little bit.
And Rebecca is feeling very justified today, because up till now, she's felt that the ups were usually harder than the downs, and so people that slack back southbound were getting it easier. But I feel like today, it doesn't matter if you're going northbound or southbound, you're getting the same thing out of the roller coaster.
We made it 1,000 miles.
Good job. You have hiked 1,000 miles. Congratulations. Woohoo! Good morning. We're enjoying the roller coaster for a second day, and for a second day in a row. Parts of it are very rocky. So we're gonna climb up this rocky incline and enjoy the boulders this morning. Today's an exciting day because not only do we finish the roller coaster, but we also enter West Virginia.
Leaving Virginia.
So leaving Virginia, entering West Virginia. We're excited about that. So off we go. This is indeed the AT. We were told to turn left when we got out of the woods, and we did. Don't know where we're headed, but we're hiking along the interstate.
That part of that log is white because it's covered in termites. It is so disgusting. There's so many.
Made it to West Virginia. Although I think the sign is backwards. West Virginia is on the left, Virginia is on the right. But awesome. Second view of the roller coaster, and this one's pretty. We have finished the roller coaster. Woohoo!
So done.
Thoughts on the roller coaster?
A lot of pointless ups and downs.
Pointless ups and downs?
Wasn't too bad. Wasn't
Really rocky.
awful. Really rocky, yeah. The rocks could go.
Don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. It wasn't awful, but
If they didn't put a sign saying it was a roller coaster, I don't think I would have noticed it.
Oh, I would have
I would have
noticed.
noticed.
there was a lot of ups and
They
downs.
made it obvious.
We were comparing roller coasters at one point, the difference between wooden roller coasters and the newer metal ones. This was definitely a wooden roller coaster.
I almost fell more times in the roller coaster than I have in the whole ATV.
Yeah, there were a ton of rocks through that 14-mile stretch, so
very, very bumpy ride.
it was a very bumpy ride. We're glad to be done with it. Glad to be in West Virginia. Hiking on.
Emily was just sitting here eating lunch, and all of a sudden she screams, and we're like, what? And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a copperhead in the log. Just staying dry.
I was literally sitting, and I was looking at a slug thingy, and I peeked in to see it a little better, and I peeked over, and I saw inside the hole, and there's a snake.
That's our first poisonous snake on trail.
It's not even on trail, it's in a log.
No, but there's so many slugs on this log, and slugs are so gross. I'm not gonna finish lunch and leave the copperhead alone. We've all moved away from the log.
We are crossing the Shenandoah River on the way to the ATC headquarters in Harper's Ferry. No, I see it. Next time on Trekking Along.